Hi, I'm Bruce Moore from the East Longmeadow Historical Commission. We're standing in front of our historical museum at 87 Maple Street here, and we'd like to invite you inside to take a tour of some of our memorabilia from East Longmeadow. On the floor, we have an Indian mortar that was used to grind acorns and corn, and that was given by Ronnie Goldstein. And this stone is local brownstone, which is very soft, so I would imagine the local Indians ingested quite a bit of this material into their diet. Yeah. This is an old, I think this is an Indian head. This was done quite a while ago from local stone by an unknown carver, but we think it looks like a Native American. And while we are on the brownstone, that is what our town is famous for. There's three shades of stone in town. The Maynard Quarry, which is up behind Graziano Gardens, the Kibbe Quarry, which is on Kibbe Road near John Romedo's house, and the Worcester Quarry, which is next to the police station, which is now filled with water. And it's interesting that these three shades of stone were all found within a 1 mile radius of each other in town. And the beds are quite deep on these, so there was quite a bit of deposits going on at the time. They're all sedimentary stones. Some of the earlier workers that came to town were Swedish. They came up from Portland, Connecticut. This is an all Swedish crew here. This is taken at the Billings Quarry across from the police station that's filled with water now. This would be the foreman, Algot Carlson here. He was a master at cracking, putting just the right amount of black powder in the holes that were bored and cracking the stone. These are the actual blocks that came out, so you can see he was very adept at what he did. This is another picture of the quarrymen and the tools of their trade here, and you can see they all have a variety of jobs. Some have pickaxes for starting holes and scabbling off the ends of the stone when they came out. They kind of squared them up a little bit when they came out, took off the debris and stuff like that. But you had all kind of, this is a very large gang at this particular quarry. We're not sure where it was. And if you see these bars that they're holding, this is one that I found at Pine Quarry in one of the caves out there. It's probably it's 17 pounds actually. And this is an 11-pound sledgehammer that Bill O'Shaughnessy found out there at the quarry. And this cable came from Pine Quarry. It would have been used on one of the big derricks. Over here is a picture of one of the derricks. This is the mast and the boom, and they had cables holding them up, and the mast would be raised and lowered by steam power. It used to be they could hand raise and lower it or use a drum with a horse walking around it. And after they mined the stone out of the ground, this is a famous picture, it's on the town seal. This is George Patrick up at where the current DPW is now. He's on his team of oxen with the stone in the Taylor Quarry Yard. And this ox yoke in the background came from that area and was generously donated by Mr. and Mrs. Robert Turnberg in town. These are some of the tools that the men used at the shop. Well, let me back up. This is one of the shops here, right where the DPW is now. This is you can see all the different sheds here, and the doors go up and down. So, you know, in the winter they could keep the weather out, but they're all working on making various stone design pieces like you see in front here. And these would be some of the tools of the trade that they'd use. I collected these for years, and they're all signed by the names of these people that you see. underneath. There are quite a few famous names in town: Leon Cooley, the Kibbies, the Whites, Beebe's. And the stone cutters, in using these tools, they used a wooden mallet like this. You can see how worn it is on each side. And the stone was soft coming out of the ground, and they would tap it like that. And they used wood instead of steel, so it wouldn't, if you look at the back of some of these, they're all peened over because somebody used metal on it, and it's a dangerous thing to do. But these are over 100 years old, and they're still in perfect, pristine shape. Some of the other tools they used were these Crandling hammers, which seem a little bizarre looking at them, but if you notice, there's a wedge here that holds these series of teeth in place, and they're all in a line on one end, and they would use that to top dress the stones. It puts little marks on the stones, especially for sidewalks and stuff like that. The stone gets very slick in the winter, so they top dress the stones to give them a little rougher surface. This is a sample of some of the fancy carving done by the Norcross brothers men. This is the memorial mantle in the Ames Library in Easton, Mass. It was designed by St. Gaudens, I believe. It's still there, you can go visit it. And then this is a mantle in the Billings Library in Burlington, Vermont. All done with local stone. It's just masterfully done. And there's plenty of buildings. I think this is the old post office downtown that was done entirely of brown stone. The first 5 floors of the Waldorf Astoria are East Longmeadow brownstone. And there are a multitude of buildings done with the stone from town. The Trinity Church in Boston, the Waldorf Astoria, the first 5 floors. This is a wonderful photo taken in 1959 of many, many people swimming up at Redstone Lake up behind Graziano Gardens. After the quarries were done being used, they filled up with water and were popular swimming holes for many, many years. The Lindners owned this from the 40s, and they still presently own it. And they had the Redstone swimming school there, and it was just used for years and years by many, many people in town. I'm sure there's a lot of fond memories of that. These are blow-up photos of a couple of postcards that the Norcross brothers had taken of the quarry next to the police station that's now filled with water, where Brownstone Gardens is. This just shows the quarry in operation with there's 4 derricks working, there's 3 here. This tall pipe is from the steam engine house that powered the derricks. This is the famous pier out at Pine Quarry. This was all man-made with stone that they didn't use out there, and there was a big derrick located on top of that. The pins are still there now. You can see them if you go out. There's another derrick located down lower that got the stone from way down in the quarry and brought it up to a landing around here, and then this derrick lifted that stone onto the ox carts, and they went out through the trails at Pine Quarry. We still offer tours of this quarry site. It's still as pristine as when they left it. And if you'd like to have a tour, just please contact the Historical Commission. We'd be glad to arrange it.